Sup YouTube? Today, me, VoiD, and Magi are going to be talking about the last Airbender in Nickelodeon, Aang. So,
Yeah.
a lot of
Right.
people think this character is either insane, and some people still think he's mid tier. I'm
That
kind of
is
on the more insane part. What do you
yeah.
think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like my current opinions on the game are, first off, is that it's just a little bit too new for me to like really I don't know. I kind of feel like there's like 17 different ways to shield grab people right now. Just because like I mean, and by what I mean by that is like there's a lot of things you can do to get a hit, but like it's kind of because the game is just new. We don't really know like a lot of like a bunch of different counterplays that we have. So it is kind of hard for me. I never like saying like my tier list or who's like good and who's not good like before like the first month or two. But right now, like from what I understand about the game so far, like it feels like what you really need is a move that is long, low committal, low like, and it combos into itself, right? Like that's like, or like you really just need one move, and then if it just combos into any other shit, that's fine. But and I also think you need a character that has a good like out of block like combo starter, because like this game is like I don't think by the end of it, once we actually know how the game like totally works, it'll be too mashy. Like I wouldn't be surprised if people are just like, okay, we're gonna stop hitting each other on block and just like stop praying, because it feels like right now a lot of people are just kind of just hoping that shit hits, and then they get hit like out of like they just get hit out of block because fucking you can just act like frame one out of block.
It's ridiculous. This is the
so
best
weird.
block I've ever seen in a platform fighter ever.
Yeah, it's a block, but like I was really surprised. I thought from the dev trailers, it seemed like it was going to be hold back to block, which would make sense to me because like, okay, this block seems a little bit absurd. Like if you're not specifically cornered, right? And Aang has really strong down tilt out of shield. He can jump and down air out of shield.
Jab goes really far.
Jab, yeah. That was something I was messing with too. It's like a hypersense, like whenever they're just being obnoxious with like the air dash momentum cancel or whatever. I think that's gonna be a small meta, is like jabbing someone and then like they just like reflexively do the air dash, and I've sometimes caught them in that spot.
Yeah.
But anyway,
it's a big deal.
But yeah, anyway, so I believe from those elements of being able to attack one shield safely, and whenever you do successfully hit them, like you get a big conversion, and also being able to counter people out of shield, I think Aang fits all of those really well.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's not going to change too much with like the whole like grand scheme of things. Like I think even when people start playing a little bit smarter, we know like one thing I saw you messing with a lot that I've been trying to mess with, and I think may become like something in the future, is like the double jump, air dash down, strong attacks, right?
Yeah.
Like you can like you can very surprisingly place hitboxes like everywhere. I feel like stuff like that's gonna like end up changing the neutral eventually. Like it's so frustrating, and not frustrating, I wouldn't say, but like one thing that's just true of these games that are like so like one hit like it's over, is that like it takes a while for people to like be kind of down to be like, okay, so hypothetically in this spot, if you just know they're gonna go for some cheap shit, like what is the actual counterplay? Like people often get lost and just like, I'm just gonna hold block and be mad whenever I get hit like by some dumb shit.
But there's so many options.
There's actually so many options, right? And so that's what's hard, and that's why it's hard. Like this week, I'm sure a lot of people are like, "Oh, how does Aang do against Michelangelo?" Because Michelangelo is like this really f***ed up character, but it's really just like the first real week that like people are really paying attention to that character, and like obviously he's f***ed up. He's really f***ed up. But
for what it's worth, I knew about it like day 2, day 3. And I was like, I need the game to develop. I'm not giving any attention to this. When it happens, because it will happen, I'll be there. But until it happens, I was like, let me just chill out.
Right. But yeah, so I think at least right now, it's like obviously Aang is like so fucking good. He has like so many. I guess we could like go a little bit deeper into like some of his other cheap shit, but like
there's one big thing I've been doing, and this is gonna sound really funny. A lot of my developments in my own gameplay have been from getting destroyed by a level 9 computer.
Really?
And that's also where I found out up throw up strong. It was in the middle of juice box. I was just laughing. I was like, does this work? Like, it kind of seems like it works. Let's go for it. And the most recent one is I've just been doing short hop nairs instead of like doing really fast nairs. I've just been doing short hop nairs.
And you're saying like
no fast fall, just spacing it.
Just nair. Really? Okay.
Yes. The thing for this is, well, like you said, I was just hitting block and hoping I'd get hit. And I'm like, well, I have a lot of frame data. I'm just gonna do more buttons. But then short hop nair one, it like makes it to where I can land either space or like crossed up, or you can just control it more. And the nair just has it. it on its own out neutrals a lot of characters.
Yeah.
So if I'm just floating around instead of giving people opportunities to fight back,
that actually makes a lot.
It makes it like a very big deal. And the way I think of it, since I play Marth in Melee, it reminds me of doing short hop, approaching auto cancel nair, and auto cancel nairing in place.
Right, yeah.
It's just like, if you get the hit, it works out because you're just gonna follow up anyway. But that one of them is way safer than the other.
Right. Yeah, that actually makes a lot of sense. I was messing around with short hop or technically there's no short hop. It's just jumping, I guess. Right.
There's a full hop.
There is a short hop and full hop. Oh,
yeah.
Wait, how does it work then? There's no jump squat.
It just depends how long you hold it, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you don't change it during jump squat.
Huh. Okay, well, regardless, one thing I usually do is I try to jump above them and then I'll do the air dash like away from them and then land with the nair so that it's spaced by the time I'm landing. But I still think that technically gives them a turn, right?
Just like, a little bit of space, right?
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that actually does. I haven't experimented with, because in this game, like, it's so addicting to just go for the air dash.
Go fast, right?
Just like I can just go fast. It's kind of cool. But no, actually, that makes a lot of sense. And I think stuff like that too. Before you get into that,
you can go, yeah.
There's so many things like that with every character in the game. Almost certainly that's why it's like is Michelangelo like in particular like that like busted compared to Aang? Like probably not. Like they probably both technically just kill off their grabs.
They just kill you and they hate you,
yeah. So anyway, what were you gonna say?
So I was practicing for fumbling for the Nickelodeon tournament. And level 9 Lucy was just Lucy.
Lucy.
Yeah, level 9 Lucy was just destroying me. And I know like a big plus of Aang and why I like him a lot is Aang has the punish game to match like top tier punish games. Right. It's just really hard and you probably won't kill as easily. Right. But it's still there. Like you're gonna rack up the percent like really fast. Right. But he has the neutral game of the more like bigger button characters.
Right.
And I feel like I didn't truly get how to play that neutral until I fought level 9 Lucy. And I was like, dude, level 9 Lucy was destroying me. Like the computers in this game are so good.
I actually have never played against a computer in this game, so
actually
I will actually.
Yeah. It helped me get used to like, well, you know, whether if like they're teching in place, like you can set up like really like short hop nairs to catch tech in place or tech in, or like tech in. Like there's a lot of like more control instead of going fast. I'm like, well, let's just stay in this really ridiculous area. Nair. It helps so much. It helps so much. Trust.
Okay, yeah, I actually will. I'm actually gonna mess around with that too.
Yeah.
One thing that I was gonna say too that I haven't mentioned yet was after playing Albert so much with the Oblina, he plays Oblina, and basically if you ever up B below, like you just kind of die, and that's kind of the case with everybody. Like people have like hitboxes on their up Bs, and sometimes that saves them, but a lot of the time it doesn't. But I noticed that Aang surprisingly has one of the better recoveries when he is just like down to just recover in the side blast zone and just go really high up. I think he actually has one of the better ones because it just goes so fast, and there's a fucking dive kick out of nowhere. And I noticed that that's a lot of the game is most people's kill confirms do eventually lead to down air off the stage. Often it just seems like characters, if you're just dealing with someone who like is just willing to just go down there and down air, Aang is the one who's like more likely to survive those types of like situations just because he can just kind of mash up B. It's like okay, and it's even okay when it's under the stage because it like goes kind of fast. So like if they don't have like Oblina's down there specifically, they have to get kind of lucky with the timing.
And if they mess up, you can always double jump dare reversal them.
Right.
And you're fine because you just double jump dare up B and you're like,
it's actually just kind of fine. So I think in a lot of ways Aang is like, he doesn't have the true like super duper cheap 0 to death, technically speaking. Like I noticed a lot of people, especially a lot of characters, they start holding up in the center stage and like the nair loop doesn't like, it's just a lot more annoying to do because like then you probably have to go for a downer tech chase, or you have to end it really early with the grab and then put them at 80 and then hopefully get like something else. But I do think overall like he has just about everything you need to be good in the game, as far as I know, and I think he will definitely survive a lot of the meta changes. I do think the first patch might change things a lot. You know, if they make his nair like a little bit smaller, maybe they add a little more like lag, you might see like a little bit less equipped for it, but like it really would just depend like relative to the rest of the cast. Like if everyone loses like just enough cheap shit, then like Aang doesn't need like an actual fucking like fortress of a nair, you know, for it to work. But
he just needs a usable one.
Yeah, he really just needs a usable one. Yeah.
Right. One thing that's really interesting when it comes to like Aang's kill confirms that I've been doing a lot, and my hands made sense of it before my brain did, which I thought was really interesting. If you do an aerial and you air dash to edge cancel it, you can like super easily confirm like nair into upper forward strong, like way easier. So if you're like near an edge and you nair somebody and you air dash to edge cancel it so you land earlier, you just double jump into your strongs and it'll work like really, really well. And not only that, this also comes into like the slower nair where you can definitely time it right before you land.
Right.
And then it's way easier to get the confirms.
That makes sense, yeah.
But the big thing is his confirm windows are just so small.
They're very
right. But I think the stage list helps him out a lot in that regard. Like Jellyfish, even like FD to an extent, helps him out a lot in terms of when he wants to kill people.
Right. Because that's one thing I noticed about the Battlefield stage, or I don't know I don't know the names. I believe it's the Invader Zim Battlefield stage. Yeah. Like I noticed that like him in particular, he seems to get like a little bit fucked up by big blast zones. Because it's just like, I mean, it makes sense. He just like can't like he barely kills on like SpongeBob like at setups at like 80% or like it would be 170 and you forward strong them and they just get hit across stage and still survive. So it doesn't really surprise me. But even on that stage, like if you just get to top platform, it actually it's just not that bad to like kill him either. And I just wouldn't be surprised if like it's just that he's so versatile. Like he actually can survive even on that stage that's like technically like bad for him because of the blast zones. Like what you're saying with that setup too, right? Like that kind of makes it universally like pretty reasonable to kill if that becomes consistent. And like the only thing that's like probably the only question that needs to consistently be answered is just like, what do we do at center stage whenever like, you know, because that sounds like a setup that works like, actually, does it work at the edge of a platform too? Or is it just the edge of a stage? Okay, well.
Edge of platforms. So in Jellyfish, it'll work like, if you get like a nair at like 80-ish, and you happen to get like nair edge cancel on the moving platform. Super solid.
That makes sense. I guess like the only situation that's still technically like if you hit them on the platform towards center stage, or like if you hit them on the edge of the platform that's towards center stage, then like you're probably not going to kill. Right. That's really that's like Aang's only weak like combo spot, really. That's probably like the central point of like why he's not fucking like triple S tier, because
why people aren't complaining about him.
Right. Like I'm surprised people aren't complaining about him. Like I thought I was like, because I was sketched out because people were calling me whack as for like playing. I was like, oh, okay, I'm sorry. But and then Michelangelo just suddenly started taking all the heat. It's so funny.
Every other character's fine now. It's great.
Yeah, I guess every character is just fine. But yeah, it's so interesting because it's just so early. Like we're literally like, I believe we are 1 week and like 2 days from release date or something, and we already banned a character, which is crazy. I guess on the topic of the video, I still think like, you know, it makes sense that Aang was like heavily complained about in the beginning. Like you literally, are you 1 for 1 for tournaments in that game basically?
2 for 2.
2 for 2, shit.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I guess it makes sense. A lot of people are just like, I guess you didn't win like the 3rd tournament, therefore Aang, I guess it's just fine. It's like, whatever.
Then we'd have issues.
Yeah. Three too much. Yeah, we'll see. Michelangelo like didn't even win the tournament. Everyone was just like, no, Michelangelo won too many sets. Like, actually, we're gonna.
I think the finals were 2 Mikeys.
Oh, they were. Oh, okay, my bad.
Winners top 8. There was 3 Mikeys and Leonardo. And then grand finals and winners finals was Michelangelo Dittos.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I guess that's why. It's very knee jerk. But I do think something you said, I don't even remember if the video started already, but it's mostly just for the viewing experience. Like it's like one of the first in-person majors. Like I guess it makes sense that we're gonna try to like make sure people don't freak out too much about one broken character. Like I do think the game has like still so much potential, like
for sure,
viewers wise. So it makes sense. Gosh, it's definitely just a very weird it's such a weird, like, I guess we're just really in like the current, like that's kind of the meta of like new games coming out. It's like we all just freak out the first month.
Oh, absolutely.
Just all like anything that's new is just like, oh, this character is gonna be the best character in all of fighting games ever. It's like
one thing, I'm a fan of testing out rule sets and testing out like things, especially since it looks like this game is gonna have a lot more patches. Right. I don't mind things like this, but if it were in a game where you're not expecting changes, then it feels very knee jerky.
Yeah, that actually,
or at least a lot more knee jerky.
Right. Right, that actually does make a lot of sense.
But here it's like, this is probably going to get changed, and we just want this tournament to go in a different direction, more towards what's going to get patched. I think that's fine. Because, at the end of the day, we still have Aang there. So
right. I mean, I'm chilling. I'll go fly to that tournament. I'm down. But yeah, I think that's absolutely right. Like, it's funny for me because it's like, or I think it's a lot of Smash players that like have been around. It's like obviously with me, like that shit just never gets touched. So it's a lot easier for me to just be like, you know what, like I'm just gonna accept it for what it is, and like I'm just gonna fuck with it. And like that mentality is like a little. It's like, it's definitely weird. This is the first game really that I'm playing with patches, so it's like, I mean, it makes more sense to me to make the rule set according to what the game is likely to become. Right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or right. What I'm saying, or what you were saying with like, okay, like, are they gonna patch it? Probably. So like, it would make sense, I guess, to me, to where like you would get rid of that, or you would have a rule for it. But overall, like I'm definitely on the like it's a fucking game. Like that sucks. Like I know that sucks.
Exactly.
But it definitely just sucks. Right. And it's hard to balance it. I understand. There's obviously a lot more like. There is a lot at stake here with that first tournament. Like realistically, like there really is like, this can just be like a huge like turning point for the game for all we know. So it makes sense to try their hardest to just like, to fix it. But it's so funny how we got so off topic with the Aang thing. But I mean, I think it's relevant. I think it's very relevant.
This is who Aang has to fight.
yeah, it is just kind of who Aang has to fight.
Like I do think Aang has a good time against Mikey. I'm like at least happy about that.
Yeah.
We weren't there to stop them.
Yeah, we weren't there. I mean,
there's no Aang, dude.
Yeah, I was actually gonna bring that up too. Like that was like what was weird, that like it's really just you. Like even like me, I don't know. I'm not good enough at the game yet just to like fucking start really like threatening to win tournaments or anything. Because I fucking lost to somebody holding block and spamming Sandy Jab. I just like didn't know what to do. I was like, oh
no.
But anyway,
is this pre-patch or?
No, this was literally, the tournament was in the middle of the patch, so it was like I was the first set after the patch came out. I just played against the Sandy, and they were just like, yeah, it's still a good jab. So I was like, I didn't know how to block it. Aang is still pretty underrepresented overall. Was the point that I was gonna make. Like I think Penguin plays him as well. I only know of like one other Aang besides the two of us.
The other Aang that did well last week infinited the hell out of everybody in losers bracket.
That makes sense.
And I put them in losers bracket.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
There's not a lot. He definitely. I think it's a very unappealing when there are other characters. People are like, why wouldn't I just up strong?
Right.
I'm like, Aang, I have to like do all this nair. Like, why would I do that?
Right.
Like,
it is just
that dog exists, and Lucy, Coffin.
It's funny because literally the only reason I played him was that like I'm personally like I'm addicted very randomly to the L cancel or sure hop fast fall L cancel input, which is literally just the Aang like nair input. And so I was like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna do this for like the rest of the time that this game exists. Yeah. But I think a lot of people definitely are more of like the like let me try to win tournaments like right now and like grind out like immediate.
I don't want to be the guy with all the inputs. I want to be the guy with this little input.
little input. Just shield grab and down throw and shit. But yeah,
I think it's fine. Like, I think his strength is it's good enough.
It's good enough, and it's versatile. I think it's going to survive a lot of patches, unless they just decide to like throttle like his whole move set for some reason. It really it's hard to say. We still really haven't seen what the patch is even really gonna be. Like, we don't know the balance yet. Right. We've only seen the fixes, so it'll be interesting. I think we'll very quickly realize who's gonna be good in the future. Like I think right now, if Aang keeps the core of a lot of his elements, I think he's gonna be really good and survive like every patch and like always be at least like high tier or whatever. But if this is like a really ruthless dev who's like, actually I want this game to be like, I want zero combos to exist now. It's like, oh shit. They actually, I saw on Twitter that they're changing the DI scale. So from 10 degrees to 16 degrees will be like the max you can DI out, which will probably end up changing a decent bit. I mean, yeah, it's still just hard to see or hard to know.
I'm going to ask a loaded question.
Oh,
do you think Lucy is the best?
Lucy, I have no idea. I mean, not being completely honest. I have played against Switch. Switch plays Lucy, and I just like vaguely understand how the character works. So like I know that when she has one of the modes, I think it's the vampire mode. I don't know if that's the first bite or the second bite, that she just kills no matter what, like anywhere basically. It's funny. Just the only reason that I like don't snap off like, oh yeah, that seems broken, is that like I know her recovery just instantly gets nerfed in that state, right? And I think characters, like I think Michelangelo does make more sense as like a better character, just because of like he doesn't have to take like any sort of negativity to like, or he doesn't need to enter a mode, and he doesn't need to like get afflicted by anything. He just is like gonna kill anywhere. Yeah. So I think most characters that have like a setup where they have to like be in a mode, and then like, you know, I think again, like as like game knowledge increases, like more people are gonna know how to play around the vampire mode or whatever.
Yeah.
So like it'll be less like if it hits, it hits, like, you know, but it's almost like a Jigglypuff rest, where it's like, yes, like if they do just get the setup, then yes, it is broken, and like it is gonna be fucked up. But I don't know I hardly have played against her, so I don't know the counterplay yet anyway.
I wish I was on that side of the world.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I genuinely don't. I definitely, I feel so uninformed about so many things about the game, which is why I'm even more hesitant to even try to like suggest anything. But you know, I would have to say like, how consistent, I guess. Does she just get off like everything?
It's not too hard to get a bite. The more OP thing is if you don't have it and you kill somebody and they're spawning in, you can bite them.
And yeah, you can bite their invincibility. Yeah, that's definitely I definitely saw that, and I was like, oh.
Yeah. So it's like if you ever lose your stock, it's just like,
right. Okay, that does make sense. That's definitely like a particularly like up setup, I guess. Yeah, I guess and because you just spawn in the same spot, right? So you can just set it up perfectly.
Same timing.
Right. I definitely also understand the logic of like, okay, everyone just dies in this game, so like her having like a nerf recovery is like one of like the less important things to be afflicted by. But I mean, I don't even know like what the like I don't know what's her main like aerial that she uses in neutral even.
Yeah,
like I know like
it's great.
Yeah,
hair is ginormous. It's everything.
Right. I mean, I guess like I'll ask you like why does that like your loaded question pick out of all the characters? Because
I think Lucy's the best. I don't think it's like a wide margin. But when she gets vampire state, she gets bigger jumps.
Oh, I did not know that.
Damage.
I did not.
So it gives her more kill confirms. Down tilt's really good, and the recovery is bad.
Yeah.
But if you hold bite, you go back into normal form.
Oh, I didn't know that.
What Lucy's do is they hold bite when they're recovering, and she sends out 5 projectiles upwards to cover her recovery.
Oh wait,
but she loses her form.
For the so the form change releases bats or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, that's fun. I've never seen that actually.
You go back to normal and you get a free recovery, but then you have to try to kill with normal Lucy, which is a lot harder.
Right. Okay.
But if you get the kill, then you're biting them on spawn.
Okay, I see. Yeah. That definitely would make sense for, again, like I feel like that's like there's no way like that many people know about any of the information that you just said, like in terms of just like it's just the game's like weak old. So I definitely can see the foresight of just like, this character, like whenever people like really get a hold of the game, that description of a character sounds pretty up. Especially like when you consider, again, like what's likely to be patched. They're likely not going to patch out like game mechanics that like Lucy has. Like that is probably going to stay consistent, but maybe they'll nerf the killing power or something. I don't know, but
something like that. That sounds right.
I like that prediction though. I think that's a very, very solid. Like I'm going to be paying attention now to that character,
and that's why I'm telling you, Aang's Nair feels like, I don't know how much ult you watch, but Palutena is like the character that gatekeeps a lot of the bad characters.
Right,
her neutral is just insane.
Right, that
Aang feels like that character to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, even like Oblina, there's certain aspects where I'm like, well, you have to get in first.
Right.
And I'm like,
I'm just gonna drift away.
Like if you get in, sure, but until that happens, I'm gonna try my best. And Aang can do that.
Yeah, so, that makes sense. It's so funny. It's because like my first instinct when I started the game was definitely like, what the this character is like unstoppable. And you know, now we're like what week 2 technically into the game, and now it's like, okay, like he's actually like quite fair, surprisingly, within the scale of the game. He's quite fair, and he is kind of just good at like keeping to himself and like having a nice honest combo that you just do one thing over and over again. But compared to like a lot of the other characters, it definitely makes sense that like he has what seemed like one of the most crazy like approaching tools is actually mostly used just to like space, like, you know, keep them out, like don't let them get in. And then if you're successful in the defense, then like you do get like a big combo, but you don't kill off the combo probably. So it's like he has he's almost like, it's weird to describe him as anti-meta, but he almost is. Where
he feels like it. Yeah.
Like you need to like, if you're good at the game and you're good at like what all the characters have access to, I think he's going to be the best at like, if you know what they're going to do, Aang is the best at covering that specific thing. He's almost like Fox in that sense, or Fox in Melee is like, Fox is good if you just know what your opponent's going to do, Fox can just cover it and he can get a big conversion off of it.
Yeah.
The same way with Aang, I think if you just know what they're going to do, he has the best tools. Like, hell, he has like, I think he still has like really strong like air movement. Like his, I think one thing I've been like messing around with a lot is just like using down strong to like stall in the air and like just like messing around with a lot more of that stuff.
I've been doing if somebody's really block heavy, I just jump next to them, and instead of naring, I do up strong because it stalls me in front of them, and
that
I would
makes
have
sense
landed otherwise. And I'm like, oh, this is so cool. And then some people mash, and I'm like, okay, maybe I shouldn't do that anymore.
It's so funny how much of the game is like, you know, if your opponent respects you, which I'm sure eventually they will have to respect you, but for now, it's like, I mean, I don't think you know what you're doing either. It's like, you might have a point.
Think we can call it here?
Yeah, I think we definitely covered a lot of topics there. TLDR, is Aang good? Yes. He is
very
good.
Solid. Very
solid. Good. Very good. I think he has a bright future, even like with a bunch of patches coming. Thank you guys so much for tuning in today. I really appreciate it. Thank you for VoiD joining the Beast Coast channel. Make sure you follow him on all of his stuff. GSM VoiD, I think. And thanks for tuning in. Make sure you follow, or subscribe and comment, all that good stuff. And we'll catch you next time.